Hello everybody, it's Becca at So Darn Twisted, and today I'm going to teach you how to make these really easy little torn pocket things. Like, you know, they're just really cool. I have sewn these, but it's completely not necessary. It is a slightly different take on, I think it was Natasha at Treasure Books. I think so, I'll have to check that, where I first saw something similar. So we will get on with this. I will show you what you need to make them. So yeah, what you need to make these. Now these are excellent for mass make and scrap busting. So you're going to need, let's start at the beginning, you're going to need some scrap paper of a decent-ish size. You know, you don't want bits that are too small, kind of thing. You can use book pages, you can use sheet music, let's see, and you could also use, you know, the really thick pages that you get in with some old books. They've got that really robust paper there. You can also use pieces of book page for decorating the front if you decide to go for something different other than a book page to actually make the pocket with. So, you know, you've got options there really. So yeah, paper. We've now covered paper. Embellishments, as I say, you can use pieces of book page, either big books, or I've got these little tiny books. Snippet rolls are absolutely fantastic for this kind of thing, as is some kind of sheer fabric, which is, I think, the one I used on that one there. Oh, I'll just drop it. Let's see if we can just, gives that really nice sort of extra bit of texture and dimension. So yeah, some fabric like that. I also use things like old tea bags from where I've made my favourite vanilla tea. And they're really nice and robust, and they shred at the edges really nicely as well, so you can use those. If you don't have snippet rolls but you have scraps, well, you know, you're one step away from a snippet roll anyway, so you can just take your little bits of fabricy scraps, you know, buttons, embellishments, that kind of thing. You will need some glue, ink pad and ink dauber, and optionally a corner punch, either, you know, just a regular corner clumper or a decorative punch, depending on what you prefer for yours. So with that, let's get going. Now, when it comes to making them, the thing to remember is that you need paper that is wide. It doesn't have to be deep, but it does need to be wide for the first method, the method that I think I saw from Natasha. So we'll start off making one that way, and then I'll show you an alternative way if you've got scraps that you want to use but they're not wide enough to make a decent width pocket from. So first of all then, I'm going to use the trimmer just to cut off the piece that I'm going to use for this. So I'm going to cut that just below that part there, I think, yeah. So we're going to have that across there. Okay, so currently I have this piece here, which if you want measurements, I have not measured. I have absolutely no idea what the measurements of this will be. That is 13 centimetres, so about 5 2/8 of an inch. And that is 21.5 centimetres, which is 8.5 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to fold this so that effectively all I'm doing is taking one half and very slightly overlapping it along the back. So I'll show you closer in just a second. Okay, so that part is just overlapping. It's not massive, it's just a bit. Okay, fantastic. Concentrate more on whether or not your bottoms line up than your tops. Don't worry about the tops for now. So now that that's done, we're going to take this and we're going to just make a fold in the bottom like that. And then we're just going to get our little bone folder and just give that a bit of a crease. Then take some scissors and we're just going to cut that piece out, and then up the side I'm going to just like angle there, and then do the same for this one. So I'm going to go at it that way, slight angle, and then just cut across. Fabulous. So you should now have something that looks like that. Marvellous. Okay, those bits you can keep in your scraps if you want to use them to decorate on the front of this or what have you, that's fine. So now I'm going to just take this, and because you don't have to ink at this stage, but I like to just get a bit on that and this before they're glued. But if you want it to kind of be a little bit less conspicuous, then, you know, by all means just glue before you ink anything. So we're just going to take a little dab of the glue, and we're just going to run that up that seam, and then we're going to do the same along this flap here at the bottom. And like I always say, just enough to hold it, not enough to flood it, you know. We all get glue seepage occasionally, but it's better avoided if possible. Okay, so there is your little pocket without, you know, ugly joined sides and things like that. So I'm just gonna give that a go over those 3 edges now. And then, as I said before, we're not going to worry about this bit because I'm going to tear it anyway. So at this point, I'm just kind of going to make whatever shape appeals to me today. Today, it's that shape. Then I'm going to get my ink and just flick around the edges. What I tend to do for these is in the corners, I tend to give it a little bit more attention. I always do that when I'm aging anything. Because if you look at aged documents and pages, the edges and the corners will always be that bit darker, and then it kind of fades up into the middle. So if you're trying to get it to look, you know, authentic, so to speak, then that's what you want to do. Just going down the edges like that won't give you that effect. So I always just kind of go at like a sort of 45-degree angle, I suppose, to the paper, and then that gives you just that really nice kind of really nicely faded out look. And that I'll just quickly whiz along the back as well. All right, so now that we're inked and that's all lovely, we're now going to decide about what to put on it. So as I mentioned earlier, run things like this kind of, you know, sheer but specular fabric, which I have not been able to find any more of anywhere. Doesn't matter what I search for, I can't seem to find it. Same with the hollowed out papers, I really struggle to find those things. But yeah, you could have something like that. So just have a little look. That looks kind of nice on there. Again, like I say, there is the option of the sort of raggedy squared off tea bag. They're the only options I have here at this moment in time, so I'm just going to pick one of them. I think I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to just cut that down to roughly the right length, and then we'll just trim off any little bits of excess afterwards. And I know that I need to ink that up to glue that up to that point there. So I'm just going to kind of smear a bit of glue around. Don't want big lumpy globs of it, obviously, so I tend to just squeeze a little bit out and then just kind of smear it around. Okay, fantastic. And then we'll pop that down onto there. That mesh fabric, the glue always just comes through all over your hands, doesn't it? Okay. And then if you want to leave the edges, you know, you don't have to trim them down. You can leave them and it gives that kind of really rustic feel to it, then, you know, absolutely. I'm just doing that because I can. Okay, so then we would choose our main decorative element, which in this case, as I say, I'm going to use what's left of my snippet roll, which I desperately need to make some more of. And I'm just going to have a little look, and I tend to just kind of hold them, you know, one at a time and see which one I think fits the best. And for me, I think it's that one. So it was a choice there. There was another one in the lead, but then that one just pipped it to the post. And then again, you know, just decide where you want to position it on the little pocket bag. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue behind the base ribbon because it's not where I've cut it. It's cut through a bit that wasn't stuck completely. And then we're just going to pop just enough to hold it, because obviously it's fabric, so it needs a little bit more glue. And then pop that down, and there you go. Method 1. I said it was quick and easy, right? So that's really cute. You can now glue that in. You can put it in a belly band. You can put it in a bigger pocket, you know, folded up page in your journal, you know, and you've got a nice little stashy space in there. So that's the first method if you do have long pieces of paper. I hear the cry of, but Becca, what if my page is not big enough? For example, if you wanted to use a book page, this one's already been folded and creased. I'm going to dig out another one. All right, so we've got some Emma on the go. So what if you wanted to be able to use pages that were up the right way, you know, but obviously you're not going to get that folded round and in on itself, but we have a solution that will not narrow it any more than if you were just going to trim it down to that edge, but we're not going to trim it. So we'll do a book page on one side, and let's have something else on the opposite side. Yeah, bit of visual interest. That could not have been more perfect if I had tried. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to take your book page. You are going to just trim diagonally across that corner. Okay, then you're going to take the bottom corner, the bottom piece, and you're going to fold it along the baseline of text. Fantastic, right? Then you're going to take the side and do it so it's just, again, just inside the line of text on the side. And we're going to just do the same on that edge and just get that to the edge of the text as well. So far, so good. Then we're going to take this piece, and because I'm going to be going across the top there, to save wasting any more off the top edge of this, I'm going to use it that way around, so that when I cut it off, it's going to be cutting off that bit that's all higgledy-piggledy anyway. Now, if once it's folded, it's slightly bigger, we'll trim that down. So, as you see, I've just got a little bit of a lip there, so I'm just going to trim that edge off. And as I say, it doesn't matter when you get near the top anyway. Right, so there we have that. So now we're going to get some glue. What you're going to do, as you can probably guess by now, is we're just going to throw glue all around those 3 edges. Being careful not to make it so that it will seep across inwards, because if you do, it will stick the 2 together, and we don't want that. So let's start out down there, just get it kind of roughly, and then you can just finagle it. The great word, finagle. And then just kind of push it around, push it down. Okay, so now you have a pocket that doesn't have ugly edges. It's got a nice smooth folded edge instead. And then, like before, I'm going to just just tear across there. I might have a little bit more off of that actually. There we go. So that's quite a nice deep pocket, but it's got a nice pattern in the background as well. So, you know, you can obviously have it either way, but the point is to have it so that your feature paper, if you like, is on the front so that you don't have the torn edge. And if you can see any of your edge off of your back piece still, feel free to just trim that down a little bit, just so that it is hidden. Otherwise it defeats the object. So now, as before, you're going to grab your ink and you're just going to give it a good going over. Okay, so now we are nicely inked. Now, I should probably explain the point of doing it this way is that your pocket is not doing this. If you were to just glue two pieces of paper together, you're gluing down the two edges, so your pocket will only open to the edge of your glue area. The point of this way is that you get the full width of your pocket. Just in case you were wondering, well, why don't I just stick two pieces together? Why go to all that? You know, that's the reason why you get a full width pocket as opposed to just that much. Okay, glad we cleared that up. Right, so now I think for this one I'm actually going to take some of this and I'm just going to kind of just give it a bit of a tear around, just ratty it up a little bit, you know. This stuff is really good for that. So this is just like boxed make your own tea bags ones, so you fill them yourself. So, you know, you can buy a box of these and just tea dye them if you don't drink tea. Like a lot of people don't, you know. I only drink it occasionally. All right, so I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my ink and I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit, sort of bend it over my finger just to get a little bit of sort of tension on it, so that it will ink around those edges a bit, just to grubby it up, you know, because although it's tea dyed, it still looked quite, yeah, quite clean. And I do leave it to soak for ages, but yeah, it still looked a bit nice. And we want it to look a little bit grungy vintage, don't we? So yeah, see, that looks much better than that piece. So I might use this piece as well and kind of overlap them. So this is how I always end up with inky fingers and nails, because, you know, I do silly things like this rather than using gloves or, you know, put it on a piece of carrier. No, I just use my fingers. All right, so then it's just about positioning and what you're going to put on the top. So again, this is really the same process as the previous one. You know, if you haven't already got snippet roll, obviously, and you're making up your clusters, then you're just going to kind of position stuff and see, you know, what you like and where you like it, really. So it's just, yeah, it's just a matter of, it's just a matter of design preference, you know, what works for you. And I like this one. But that's the beauty of snippet roll, is that it is already there. The work's already been done for you. These scissors are useless for cutting through fabric. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, you know, all that hard work of trying to figure it out, it's such hard work. You know, sort of layering this bit, layering that bit, and so, well, you've just got lots of different options and you can just literally drag them over until you go, yes, that one, which is obviously exactly what's happened here. So I'm just going to obviously get some glue in on the edges of that. Now, if you want to sew around your edges, I do recommend doing it before you decorate them. But it's not so bad if your decoration's closer to the centre, because it won't get in the way of your sewing machine foot anyway. But generally speaking, I recommend doing all that kind of thing first. So I'm going to glue that onto my tea bag paper. That will hold those exactly where I wanted them, and then just a bit of extra glue. Most of it seeps through, but a bit of extra just makes sure that that's not going to go anywhere now. Except for glue all over my hands, as per usual. Alright, so we've got that in there. That's looking kind of nice. You can leave it there, or you can add some extras to it. What could be quite nice would be some lace up the edge there. I think that would look quite nice actually. And what I might do is, just for my sensibilities, I'm going to cut that at the sort of at the dip in the scalloped edges there, just so that they kind of flow nicely, rather than having that kind of half arch poking up there. So we'll just again throw a bit of glue down there, pop that on, squeeze it into place, and there we go. Pocket number 2. So we have 2 pockets done 2 different ways, with the end result being incredibly similar in design. So you can now put those, as I say, in belly bands, tuck spots, glue them directly into your journals, you know, any of that kind of thing. So you must make these to your little heart's content. They make fantastic happy mail. And you know, things for like swaps and RAKs, you know, these kind of things. As you can see, I've knocked out a couple of those in, you know, minutes really per pocket, and quicker if you're not explaining them and showing what you're doing as you do it. So it would take you even less time to knock out, you know, sort of 10 of these in sort of 20 minutes kind of thing. So yeah, great for mass makes. So obviously, as I always say, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you found it very useful. Hope you've learned something, whether that be a new technique or just a, you know, something that you hadn't thought of previously. If you have enjoyed the video, I'd love it if you leave me a comment. I get the most wonderful feedback, and actually now is the perfect time to say that, you know, how much I really appreciate each and every single one of you that take the time to actually leave me a comment or give a thumbs up on the video. People that hang around by subscribing, you know, I really do appreciate it, and it's the feedback that I get that encourages me to obviously continue with the channel and continue making the videos, because I know I'm not just shouting into the wind when I get the feedback from you guys. So thank you very much. It is highly appreciated. And I will be back very soon for more similar tutorials as this one, for quick and easy uses of scraps to make up some really nice things that don't look beginner level but absolutely are. So in the meantime, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crafting.